Meet Harry. He made every mistake in the book, started with just SCHD, switched to VTI when it wasn't growing fast enough, panicked and bought PEP during a market crash, then discovered UNH was trading at a discount and went all in. 5 years of strategy hopping and $30,000 later, Harry was frustrated and ready to quit dividend investing altogether. But then Harry learned something that changed everything. There's a specific sequence, a formula, for building these 4 ETFs that creates an explosion effect after $100,000. What took him 8 chaotic years suddenly accelerated. His next $100,000 took just 3 years. Now Harry's pulling in over $4,000 monthly in passive income. The rich don't just get richer by accident. There's actual math behind why your dividend portfolio hits a multiplier effect after that first $100,000 milestone. Today I'm going to show you the exact sequence Harry discovered, and I'll reveal how he reached his goal faster than most people even get started. You'll see how one ETF sets the foundation, another ETF provides the acceleration, and how 2 beaten-down dividend stocks became his secret weapons for explosive growth. But here's the catch. I'm going to walk through each investment one by one, and trust me, you're going to want to stay until the end because Harry's 3-phase strategy will show you exactly how he turned $500 monthly contributions into a financial freedom machine. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Here's why Harry was failing, and why most investors quit before the magic happens. He was chasing performance instead of building a system. One month he'd read about SCHD's stability. The next month, VTI's growth would catch his eye. Then a YouTuber would mention dividend growth and he'd panic buy PEP during a dip. But here's what Harry learned. Compound interest isn't about finding the perfect investment. It's about finding the perfect sequence. Think of it like building a house. You can't start with the roof. You need a foundation, then walls, then everything else in the right order. Warren Buffett said it best. Time is the friend of the wonderful business. But first, you need to know which businesses to buy, when to buy them, and in what order. VTI, the foundation builder. Let's start with what should be your first move. VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. Harry's biggest mistake was ignoring VTI early on, thinking it was too broad. Now, before we dive into the numbers, all the performance data I'm showing you comes from Seeking Alpha, which is where I track all my ETF research. If you want to follow along with the same data, I've got a special link in the description that gets you $30 off plus a 7-day free trial. With $1.82 trillion in assets and an 11.70% annual return, VTI owns over 3,500 companies from Apple to emerging small caps. The dividend yield of 1.27% might seem low, but VTI builds the portfolio value that makes future dividends meaningful. The 0.03% expense ratio means you keep virtually all returns. A 4% yield on $500,000 beats 4% on $50,000 every time. SCHD, the income accelerator. Once Harry had his VTI foundation, he added SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. With a dividend yield of 3.89% and dividend growth averaging 11.26% over 3 years, SCHD became Harry's income accelerator. This $69.5 billion fund only includes companies that have paid dividends for at least 10 years with strong fundamentals. It's diversified across 20.3% energy, 19% consumer staples, 14.3% healthcare. The 0.06% expense ratio is incredibly low. While VTI builds your asset base, SCHD provides the dividend income that can be reinvested to buy more shares, creating the compounding loop. PEP, the discounted dividend king. PepsiCo, was trading down 28.64% from its peak when Harry discovered it. With a dividend yield of 4.41% and 52 years of consecutive dividend increases, Pepe became Harry's value play. For 52 straight years, through every recession and market crash, PepsiCo has increased its dividends. That's reliability you can build retirement income around. The dividend growth of 7.84% annually means this yield will likely double within a decade. Harry bought PEP when it was cheap, getting higher yields and better future returns from brands like Pepsi, Lay's, and Gatorade. UNH, the growth opportunity. Finally, UNH, United Health Group, was down over 50% from its 52-week high when Harry bought in. With a 2.94% dividend yield and explosive dividend growth of 12.36% annually, UNH offered quality at clearance prices. Healthcare isn't optional, it's essential. UNH has grown its dividend for 15 consecutive years, and demographic trends suggest this is just the beginning. UNH isn't just health insurance, it's technology, data analytics, and healthcare innovation. Harry bought UNH at depressed levels, betting on one of the most predictable revenue streams in the economy. Wait until you see how Harry combined these four investments. His three-phase evolution strategy creates wealth acceleration that most investors never achieve. Now here's where everything clicks together. Remember, I promised to show you Harry's complete calculation breakdown, and this is where it gets exciting. Harry's evolution, the three-phase system. Phase 1, foundation building, years 1-4. The learning phase. Picture this. Harry's 25 years old, living in a studio apartment, making $60,000 a year. Every month, he religiously transfers $500 to his investment account. But here's what was brilliant. He went heavy on VTI with 70% of every dollar, sprinkled in 20% SCHD for some dividend income, and just dabbed 5% each into PEP and UNH to get familiar with individual dividend stocks. By year 4, Harry's watching his account hit $26,800. Not exactly life-changing money, but here's what got him excited. He was earning $52 every month in passive income, but Harry was smart. He set up DRIP, dividend reinvestment plans, on all his holdings. Every dividend automatically bought more shares, no fees, no thinking required. That $52 wasn't going to his checking account. It was buying him more VTI, SCHD, PEP, and UNH shares every single month. Phase 2, income acceleration, years 5-8. The confidence builder. Now Harry's 29, got a promotion, but here's the key. He kept that same $500 monthly contribution. No lifestyle inflation, but he did something smart with his allocation. He rebalanced to 40% VTI and 40% SCHD, essentially going from growth-heavy to balanced power. Those extra PEP and UNH positions? He bumped them to 10% each. Why? Because he'd been watching these companies for 4 years and understood their business models. By year 8, Harry's staring at $78,400 in his account. But here's what really caught his attention. $183 monthly in passive income, all automatically reinvesting through DRIP. That $183 was buying him roughly 6-7 additional shares of SCHD every month, plus fractional shares of VTI. Harry was starting to see the compounding machine he was building. His dividends were buying shares, which generated more dividends, which bought even more shares. Phase 3, wealth explosion, years 9-15. The breakthrough. This is where Harry got aggressive, but smart aggressive. He flipped his strategy completely. Now 50% SCHD, 30% VTI, and those 10% positions in PEP and UNH stayed the same. Same $500 monthly. Harry was still driving his 2018 Honda Civic and living below his means. Year 10 was the magic moment. Harry crossed $100,000. But by year 12, his portfolio exploded to $168,300. And here's the kicker. By year 15, Harry was looking at $284,600 with $731 monthly in passive income. That's when it hit him. His dividend portfolio was generating more monthly income than his old car payment, insurance, and gas combined. Harry wasn't just building wealth, he was building financial freedom. If this strategy evolution is making sense, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to show this to more people who need to see these dividend investing secrets. Now let me show you the exact math behind Harry's breakthrough. When he hit $100,000 in year 10, something magical happened with his compound interest calculations. The $100,000 explosion effect. Harry's breakthrough. Moment. Here's the exact progression that changed everything for Harry. Year 10. He finally hit $100,000 with $287 flowing in monthly. That's his gym membership, streaming services, and coffee budget completely covered by his investments. 2 years later at year 12, Harry's portfolio exploded to $168,300 with $445 monthly in passive income. Now his investments were covering groceries and utilities. Real money that was reducing his monthly expenses. By year 15, Harry reached $284,600 with that incredible $731 monthly passive income. His dividend portfolio was now generating more than his entire cost of living from his 20s. Harry wasn't just building wealth anymore. He was replacing his salary, one dividend payment at a time. Notice the pattern? The first $100,000 took 10 years with consistent $500 monthly contributions, but the next $100,000 took just 2 years. And the third $100,000? Even faster. This is compound interest hitting its stride. Harry's dividend portfolio was now generating enough passive income that the reinvested dividends were buying significant numbers of new shares each quarter. Here's the calculation that will blow your mind. By year 15, Harry's quarterly DRIP reinvestments were automatically buying him more shares than his first 2 years of $500 monthly contributions combined. His money was now working harder than Harry himself, and it was happening completely on autopilot. Here's what Harry discovered, and what you need to understand. The sequence matters as much as the selections. VTI first for foundation building, SCHD second for dividend income acceleration, PEP and UNH when they're trading at discounts for maximum value. But most importantly, Harry learned that DRIP transforms everything. Automatic reinvestment turns dividends into a wealth-building machine. All investments carry risk. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always do your own research or consult a professional. But there's one crucial element we haven't discussed: the exact timing signals Harry used to know when to rebalance between phases. Subscribe for more dividend investing strategies that could change your financial future.